Hi, I'm Jim.
And I'm David.
And this is the Practical Guitarist Podcast.
The podcast for people who eat, sleep, and breathe guitar.
Howdy, y'all. It's Ryan
And Angela.
from RNA Music, deep in the heart of Texas.
That's right.
Your favorite mom and pop guitar shop and music lesson studio. That's where we're at right now, physically. But digitally, we are doing a podcast with these guys.
Yes.
And they have joined the Practical Guitarists. I'm Jim.
I'm David. Yes. I try to make things as awkward as possible. If Jim hasn't told you this yet, like that's what happens. It's just a thing, right?
Look like I have heat stroke.
I gotta say,
my makeup person?
First off, they got the right amp behind them because I've actually
they
been,
do.
kind of looking at them lately and going,
Yeah, which one? The Mesa.
The dual rack, or is that a triple rack? Is it a reborn?
It's a mid '90s dual rec,
Okay.
2-channel.
All right.
The good kind.
So
Two,
Jim,
was it 2 and 2?
if you're new to the channel, this is for our listeners, viewers, whatever they want to call themselves, because we're in 2 mediums now. If you're new to the channel, like and subscribe. Do go over to RNA Music's channel and take a look. Their stuff will be down below in the comments.
That is correct. And we will ask them again how to contact RNA Music. So we have, not only do we have RNA Music, we have the blogging lollies. So, so those who don't know, RNA Music is named after Ryan and Angela. So if you ever wonder, what is RNA Music? It's
Is that where
RNA.
that came from?
Yeah.
It's that simple.
Yeah. It
You
really
guys
is.
spent a long time working on that name, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, well, sort of.
So
I've got a
was there-
funny story about that.
Yeah, were there any other names you were going to use, or tell us about it.
I don't think so. Not really.
No.
What I was talking to Chris Mitchell from Chris Mitchell Guitars, CMG Guitars, like a couple days ago. And he said, yeah, somebody called me and said, yeah, I saw your guitar on the NRA. Tell me about it. He said, I'm not with the NRA, but,
Yeah.
So that was the first time I had heard that. They got confused about gun rights
Yeah.
and RNA.
There's a little dyslexia going on. That's okay.
Yeah.
Have you ever?
No,
so
well,
you're telling me you've never had anybody come in the shop looking for an AR-15 and walk out with a Les Paul?
Right.
Not yet.
Nice. Yeah.
Maybe a
Nice.
ukulele.
Well, this is Texas.
It is Texas.
So
I
have
know.
considered
I know.
diversity.
I used to live there, so yeah, I'm very familiar.
not very far away. A few towns over, there's actually a store that sells guitars and guns.
Mhm.
They're mostly a gun store, but they're like half and half, guns and guitars.
Guns and gear.
It's interesting.
Hey,
Yeah.
I did. You know what? Whatever makes you money, but it's like,
Yeah.
oh wow.
Somebody told me about that
Yeah,
place.
but-
I was jealous.
we haven't done that. We haven't done that.
Is that
Not
where
yet.
where
Yeah.
that AR-15 guitar that always pops up in social media threads comes from? Is it like that? Is that the birthplace of that thing?
It
Probably.
could have been. Well, I had a friend. I probably told the story somewhere, maybe, but maybe not. There was a guy back in 05, 06 era. I followed a store. Actually, it was a small one-man show in Pittsburgh called Boogie Street Guitars.
Mhm.
Eric McKenna was his name, and he was like a custom shop Washburn dealer, and it was all online. He was really ahead of his time, actually. But it was Boogie Street Guitars, but he shortened it to BSG. And I always thought that was kind of cool. And then, of course, there's EMG,
PRS.
PRS, CMG. There's all these, abbreviated things. And so I kind of thought, well, what would be cool? Because it looks good on a logo, And I thought, well, Ryan and Angela. I was like, RNA. I was trying to come up with 3 letters. So that's how the RNA thing came. So,
Yeah.
But I was really inspired. There's a lot of things I've done over the years, but I was inspired by Boogie Street Guitars to do, who's no longer in the guitar business, but
Now
for
you
about
bought
13 years.
some guitars from them, right? You bought a couple of.
Yeah, I've got 3 that are BSG exclusives. You
Yes.
could only buy from Eric in Pittsburgh, PA,
Mhm.
which is not in Texas.
No.
There's
So-
a cat.
Speaking of,
Okay.
yeah,
Yeah.
oh yeah, he's got cats. He's got 2
They'll
of
be
them.
around.
They come in, they walk across the keyboard.
Then
They
moon
walk,
you.
yeah, they go
Yeah.
right over top of the microphone. They
You
don't-
do that.
So I got to ask you about, speaking of something that's not from Texas. So how's the bitter bass man?
Adamantly
not from Texas.
Yeah. He's bitter about being in Texas still, but he's from Ohio. He's a Ohioan originally,
Mm-hmm.
But
He's doing good.
but he's been in Texas for like 30 years, so I don't think he's leaving.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah.
He's a Texan.
he's
Whether he
good.
likes
I
it or
was
not.
at his house yesterday. Actually, we were working on some music.
We haven't seen him much on the channel anymore. You guys are going to have to give some fan service.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I tell him that, but he's busy. He besides being a great bass player, he's an office manager in over several medical clinics. He's
Oh yeah,
He's the
he's busy.
Yeah,
He's very busy. He's remodeling his house.
yeah,
so,
he's remodeling his house and just
Yeah.
So
he has a pretty full plate, but we'll have him come in just to go.
Yeah.
Do his thing. Do his
Yeah.
bitterness. Share
He
the
needs-
bitter love.
Yeah, he needs to sprinkle some bitterness on you guys. So for our
Yeah.
fans, I wanted to let everybody know. So if you haven't heard of RNA Music, RNA is a small, as they said, mom and pop guitar shop deep in the heart of Texas. So you guys are in East Texas, right?
Correct.
we're about an hour east of Dallas, kind of in between Dallas and Tyler, kind of smack dab in the middle of nothing.
Yeah.
That's the entire state of Texas is like smack dab in the middle of nothing. Unless you're in Houston or Dallas, like you're in the middle of nothing.
Yeah.
I'm from.
Yes.
Pretty cool.
I grew up in the Lubbock area, and we used to joke
Oh,
that it was 6 hours to anything. But Lubbock's nice, just don't leave.
Yeah, it's great. It's just a long drive to go to see something else.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So,
Mhm.
and we've talked a few times on the show about the fact that we'd like to get the input from a real mom and pop that are struggling. Well, I don't want to say you guys are struggling because you're not. I'm not saying that.
Sure.
I'm not saying you're making millions. I'm just saying you're doing okay. Yeah. And that's what I wanted to talk to you about, because I know that things have been affected during this thing. So how I want to talk about a little bit. I've got some pre-written questions that I'll ask you, and they're not. I talked to Ryan already and threw them by him. So how has this current COVID situation affected your sales?
Well, it's been interesting. We had to close our doors for probably 6 weeks,
Mhm.
like to the public, like nobody could come in. So that was a challenge for sure. I still sold some guitars actually through that, because I've got a few customers that are like faithful regulars who order like custom stuff, and they're still like, hey, can you order me this? Can we spec this out? But that was a challenge for sure. We do kind of the way our business works. And there's a lot of stores. I've gotten to know a lot of guys across the nation who do kind of what we do,
Mhm.
various levels, some many bigger, some, believe it or not, smaller than us. But it's always a stream of income. We do lessons teaching, beginners predominantly, is kind of our main revenue stream.
Mhm.
We do sell, accessories or something that sells every single day. We're selling guitar strings and picks and cables. And we do sell guitars and amps and stuff. And then there's the kind of the repair setup, sort of tech work side of the business. And guys that I've talked to that have been in the business longer than us, this is 10 years for us, 2020.
Mhm.
Yeah, January 2020 was basically our 10-year anniversary of doing this. So
Mhm.
But I have friends who've done it longer than that, and some shorter than that. But they, they all said, like 30% of your revenue will come from, if you have a lesson program, that 30% will come from, repairs, setups, tech work. 20% might be retail. It just depends, on your demographic and your area and all that kind of stuff. There's that. So for us, a significant chunk of it is the lessons, which I like, but we also, sell gear. So during shutting the doors, it definitely put a little bit of a damper on the retail side of things. Other than a few of our faithful regulars. And I did have people call like, hey, I need some strings. I'm like, come to the door.
Right.
Pay me on PayPal. Yeah. I'll set the stuff outside, and I had several of those situations like, okay, thanks, man.
Yeah.
So I had to be creative. But for us, we were able to continue with some of our teaching via Skype, YouTube, FaceTime, like what we're doing right now. We're doing a video type conference. So we were able to continue with some of our students that way. Wasn't ideal. It's not, nothing's quite the same as being in a room with a person face to face, but so it was definitely challenging for those 6 weeks when we had to physically shut our doors to everybody.
Yeah, but it worked out pretty well for us because we already established we weren't newbies to videos and using technology like a lot of people struggled with because they never did it before.
Right.
Especially the shops. But since we're used to it, this is our livelihood, being in front of the camera, we weren't shy making videos and talking to the kids through video chat and stuff. So we were able to help them even navigate like, okay, place the camera here. No, place it here. No, I don't want to see your dog. Okay, no, place it over here. Okay, hand it. No.
Put the light in front of you.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. So
like we're doing right now. But
so where we did take a dent, and yeah, exactly, where we did take a dent in, like you said, foot traffic, which wasn't like our primary source of income. We were able to survive because of what we already established through one-on-one lessons and knowing how to, go through video. So, and plus the support of, I feel like a PBS commercial, viewers like you, Yes.
Yeah.
So
we did have one of the main things really is we had some students whose parents lost their jobs, and right in the middle of the beginning of the COVID thing, there was this whole oil and gas thing with Russia and Saudi Arabia dumping prices of oil, and which for us I'm like, sweet, $1.50 for gas. I haven't seen that in forever. But out here in Texas, of course, there's a lot of oil and gas
families,
industries, and people, that's what they do. They work in the oil field.
Right.
They're there for 2 weeks. They're home for 7 days. And so we had people who, they lost their jobs, not necessarily from the COVID, but some from that, but some from oil. So we had several students who their parents were like, we don't know what we're going to do for groceries.
Or how long this is going to last.
So we need to, take a break. But we had some viewers, like you guys and others who stepped up. It was a really weird thing because somebody brought it up in one of the videos, like, hey, have you guys considered a scholarship program? And I'm like, yeah, but that just used to be us giving away our money or like for free, basically. And we weren't really big enough to subsidize that through our own, revenue. But then maybe 5 or 6 of our sort of regular YouTube viewers like, hey, how do I sponsor a kid? I'm like, here, So that was tremendous. I mean, we probably had about $800, in 1 month of revenue that was lost for students that we were able to, hey, you guys can still take your lessons. It's going to be by video or pre-recorded YouTube or live or whatever. But thanks to people across the world and across the United States who believe in keeping the music alive for young players. somebody sponsored your lessons for this, and they were just
blown away.
Yeah,
it was.
I saw that episode. Obviously, that's been over a month now, but I saw that episode where I think it's the guy that is in England or something who had asked about that, and and so I reached out and said, hey, we want to do that, because it broke my heart. I didn't really think about it. My lessons were, I take lessons at Guitar Center, right? And so I was like, but I'm 50 something years old and I'm taking them because I enjoy I always feel like you can learn something. And
Of course, for sure.
Yeah, but then I realized, you guys, you reach out, Angela, you give voice lessons, and I kind of want to bring you to the forefront here, because it's the people, you give voice and ukulele, right? And so a lot of your students are young. Right?
Yes.
And so tell us a little bit about like that feeling, especially when it comes to, because there is a connection between you and the kids, right? I've seen it in the concerts and in the thing. So how did that translate now, and hopefully come back together, obviously, but how are you guys doing with that?
Yeah, it was really hard for the younger kids to understand what was going on and why they weren't able to come see Miss Angela, in the studio anymore. And they, so whenever I was in their home, they were really, a lot of them were really excited, because it was just like me calling them, like they got a phone call from Miss Angela. But it was hard for them to really stay focused on the lessons. So being able to keep that connection and being like, okay, hold on. Like I said, like, I don't want to see your dog right now. I don't want to have a tour of your bedroom. That's great that you colored this picture, or you can stand on your head on your bed and not fall over. That's wonderful. But also get the lesson in that mom and dad paid for, that, that they need to have in order to keep up with their lessons. So it was a little bit of a struggle, because their attention span on a video when they're in their bedroom surrounded by their stuff it was really hard to
significantly diminished.
Yes, exactly. So that was really tough. But once they got back, again, it was a little tough for them to stay on topic for the most part, because, I have 5-year-olds and 6, 7, 8-year-olds that, again, want to talk about their stuff, because that's what we've been used to for the past 6 weeks. So to get them back on track it's been a little bumpy here lately, but because I have such a good relationship with the parents, and they know that Miss Angela doesn't mess around. So I'm just like, okay, I want to take away your pick until you can listen to what I'm saying. And now I'm taking away your ukulele, and I want to hold it until I have your full attention to my face. And then they got the picture. Okay, we're back in class. Miss Angela wants to teach me something. I can get back to work. So it has been quite a bit of a struggle balancing all that out and still being fun, and not having them lose that interest in wanting to actually learn an instrument and not feel like work. So
as an aside, going through that struggle, my kids they were doing the same thing. They were in cyber classes or whatever for school here. And that lasted until the end of the year. We actually finished out the year that way. And it was like, they didn't really want to have remote education sessions with them, because it was just an excuse for them to all talk to one another. And it was like, it became this whole like debacle. But it was interesting, because she started to pick up the violin midway, like I guess in October, right? And she did her first concert in December, and then January came, right? And then February. And then when they shut down everything, it was like, well, that's it for band for the year. And I'm kind of like, what are you guys doing? Like, you're paid out of my taxes. Like, the least you could do is prepare some material. Or they didn't really do much communication with us at all. Fortunately, I'm a musician, so I'm like, all right, I'll teach you some stuff. Like I don't play violin, but I know enough about music that I can teach you some stuff. And
Yeah.
we've been working on it, but it's like the school districts just dropped the ball. So the private education system, it's great to hear that both you have a rapport and that you're pushing through this and continuing to educate people in the face of what was pretty much, the most adverse situation of my lifetime, at least. I will also say that as far as because I got a minute here, when you're talking about doing the street sales thing, like, you are not unique in that. Like, we had several local shops. The one I shop at specifically was like, hey, look, we're shut down. You need something? Call us up. We'll come out. We'll bring it to your car. We'll put gloves on, masks on, hazmat suit, like whatever we got to do. I'll deliver it to your house. Like, and it was funny because I was initially like, uh-oh, like, these places I know, they're always like, they're not broke, but they got a lot of money wrapped up in inventory, and 3 months of no rent could kill them.
Oh.
And I'm like,
yeah,
with one of the shops I shop at, and they will remain nameless, I had spoken with them at one point during this, and I was like, how's it going for you guys? And then they told me, it was like, everyone came out of the woodwork. We sold, X guitars last week, and like more gear than we had, in the last 6 months in 3 weeks. And I kind of like went, what? And another person told me Reverb saved our life. It was like this whole other thing that they put all their inventory on Reverb, and they were selling like hotcakes. So, just, it's a crazy world. And I think the expectation is that everybody was going to be in trouble, but I think a lot of people found a way through it,
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. I have friends they picked up their digital stuff, online stuff, definitely picked up during the lockdown.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then I've had people teach digitally who had a significant jump in their like online courses, things like that, which I don't have. But
you're friends with Wallerman, right?
Yeah.
Dave
David,
Wallerman.
he's great.
Mm-hmm.
And what's that? Yeah. What's that store you won't name in Colorado?
Oh yeah,
the one you did not speak
I
of.
know a guy.
You know a guy.
That's a different store. They're based out of California. But no, Flipside Music. Just a couple of days ago, we were talking about stuff, and it's interesting. They've grown significantly. We've both been open about the same amount of time. We might have been around a little bit longer, but they've been growing like crazy. Now, Denver is quite a big metropolitan area. I mean, there's several million people in Denver, and it's a little bit different than middle of nowhere East Texas, population wise. Yeah. But they've built their business on local. They have an online store, and Ike has actually helped me kind of navigate setting up a new website and getting online retail going more.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
But for him, they had it, but most of their sales didn't come there. It was all local walk-in Denver traffic. There's a lot of musicians in Denver, big scene. But when everything shut down, they got a bit of a spike in that, and it kind of helped propel their online stuff forward. So he keeps busting my chops about, when you going to put more stuff up? I'm like, as soon as I finish teaching these 50.
Yeah, and you keep busting his chops about, when are you going to do more videos? So
yes.
So how has this affected, because it's affected a lot of logistics inventory, where people, I mean, I work for the government, and I recently left a contract where it was in logistics, where, supply chain, and a lot of things were almost impossible to get. Has there been any problem with your inventory as far as the ability to keep things going?
It kind of depends on the company, right? Like, so we carry Tajima guitars, which is kind of a new brand for us. We've had them for 6 or 7 months. And they're like, hey, we have thousands of guitars. You guys need to order some. Like, they're like, please buy some stuff. Like, they had plenty of inventory. But I think that was just circumstantial, because just this past year, they've been like, hey, we need to break into the U.S. market.
And start pushing
And so
social media.
They right before all this hit, they kind of loaded up and were ready to go with a bunch of new products.
Right.
So from them, it's not been a problem getting stuff. From like Vola, it's not been a problem getting stuff. Like the bigger, more established companies have been around a long time. Like D'Addario, we sold D'Addario stuff for forever. They're like, hey, make sure you check the website or the dealer ordering portal where you can check inventories before you order stuff, because they shut down their manufacturing completely.
Yeah.
And they had a bunch of stuff on hand in the warehouse, and they had limited, warehouse staff, shipping things. But it was, and that slowed. EMG I was talking to, and they're like, yeah, we had to close in California. They had to close completely. And like EMG and Seymour Duncan, and a lot of people might not know this, that they don't have like a warehouse full of pickups just sitting there. They kind of build to order, like, big Guitar Center, Sweetwater, large companies. I'm like, hey, we need, 1,000 or 10,000 units. Like, oh, all right, great. So, but they'll build them and then ship them. It's like Whataburger or Burger King,
Right?
Just in time.
Yeah, because you can't just necessarily have everything sitting in inventory. You build as you go, but. So it kind of depended on the supplier. Some stuff is not any different to get, and some stuff was more challenging to get.
Right. Yeah. Well, even with the ukuleles.
Oh yeah.
There were stuff that they didn't have at all that we had to kind of settle for because they didn't have it in inventory. So yeah, it's affected the companies for sure, and the amount, or and thank goodness not the quality, but the amount of stuff that we would normally get. And there's been delays in shipping, and the process it's been a lot longer than the normal.
One of the sad things for me really was a lot of my sales reps at various companies lost their jobs. They got laid off. You think, man, this is a giant company in the music industry. Surely they have a truckload of cash reserves.
No, never.
So like my guy at a couple of different companies that are like, it's been my guy for like a year or 2 or 3 or 5 or 10. Like, well, I'm not with this company anymore. And I'm like, what? So they had to cut sales force, basically cut payroll by cutting jobs.
Well, we've talked about this on the show before, but maybe you can shed some light on this. Like, I think there's an expectation for people who buy musical equipment that these companies are huge and that there's all these people there. And in reality, most of the companies, unless you're talking about Fender or Gibson or one of their subsidiaries, it's like, 7 or 8 people on the sales team, if that, and maybe even not like any sort of manufacturing in the States. Like, it's all being shipped in. Like Boss is a good example. They have a very small team here in the States, like Boss Roland, but they have a huge team overseas, and it's just salespeople here basically.
Right.
Yeah, for sure. There's I had this conversation. We have a really good relationship with Schecter. I mean, I've actually became a Schecter dealer in 2009, and we didn't actually open our doors until technically January 2010. So like November, December before we actually opened, I had my first Schecter order. And I like those guys. They've been good to us over the years. And we had a conversation. It was on the YouTube video. Somebody asked about buying American guitars instead of buying imports, and why don't you support American jobs and stuff. And I was like, listen, when you buy a Schecter, there's like 35 people in America whose jobs depend on you buying that. And so I talked to them, and they're like, yeah, there's like, I asked them, like, how many people work there in California? And they're like, well, about 35. Counting, the president, the CEO, shipping guys.
Well, and the other, the other side of that, of course, there's 35 people in the States, and of course, some people go, well, but you're still like, there's all these other people overseas that you're supporting, and you're giving your money to China and all this. Jim and I have talked about this on the show before. It doesn't matter. I could give my money to Randall Smith, right? Mesa Boogie. And the reality is he's either sourcing parts from there, or which I don't think he does a whole lot of that. Most of his stuff comes from Europe. It just depends on what they're doing. But he shops at Walmart. He shops at Target like everybody else. I mean, your money's going to China one way or the other. Like that doesn't matter. That's kind of a moot argument.
Yeah.
Right. True.
Directly
Yeah,
or indirectly.
So,
That's true. That is so true.
So my next question for you guys is, as we look towards the future, and you guys do have your fingers, as you've said, you have a lot of friends and business relationships with other companies that are the same size as you, and you are you two, right? That's it. It's you two.
It's it. Like, it's legit. It's just the two of us.
No overhead.
low overhead.
That's why
Very much.
Extremely.
Children.
And your two children, but RNA is you two. I mean, your children are your children. We love our children. We always take care of our children. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that RNA is you two.
But they got 3 or 4 sometimes.
The child labor, huh?
This is what I want to. Yeah.
I'm buying
Poor
you
Nicholas.
dinner.
Poor Nicholas.
Wages in
But,
kind.
But I wanted to stress this to our listeners right now, because this is a true mom and pop in a literal sense. Angela is mom. Ryan is pop. That is it. This is a mom and pop store.
It doesn't
And
get
when
more
they
legit.
say, that's right. When they say there's a mom and pop store, they're speaking in a literal as well as figurative term.
You're not lying.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not a gimmick. It's not a gimmick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nope.
No.
And that's why I want people to understand it's not like you two are faces and there's like 12 people in the background. You got, kind of like Anderton's where Anderton is out there, but he doesn't sell anything. He probably, rarely ever.
He's got
see him
more
on-
employees than Boss Roland does here in the States.
Yeah, exactly.
They're large.
They're a large.
They're a large
Yes,
company.
they are very
They're a big
large.
deal.
They're Sweetwater
Yeah.
size. Yeah.
They're
their
kind
biggest,
of a big deal.
Their biggest competitor is Toman, which
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
put
they
in
did.
perspective,
Somebody said, I mean, they did you can look it up. Like they did 150 million or 200 million pounds in revenue last year.
Yeah.
I was like, what was your revenue this year? 50 million?
Yeah.
Nice.
Sweet. I'm not going to tell you what.
I don't want to
Yeah.
say it now.
Let's just say,
It wasn't 100.
Like milk money, literally.
yeah, exactly. And you guys stay afloat. Because I remember now, you guys had, there was a truck that drove right into your store last year, right? Was that last year?
Like literally right here, like in this corner.
That corner right
You
there.
see how it's separated from the wall right there?
Yep.
Behind here, the walls all bulged out because the cinder blocks came through the wall. And yeah, the whole corner of our store was destroyed, and our Ford Taurus was totaled.
Scared the
because it was
crap out of me.
It was parked. I was sitting at the front desk when it happened, and Ryan was literally right there in a drum lesson.
Oh yeah, I was behind the drums, so I
He was-
wasn't right next
He
to
was
it.
behind the drums, and it sounded like a car went through our building into the lesson room. And I
Wow.
jump up thinking, I'm gonna walk in on Ryan gone.
Right.
That was my
Fear.
first thought. And yeah, I just screamed and came running and opened up the door, and he's just sitting there, dun, 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 playing drums, still playing drums, and I'm like,
We had our sound protection on.
they had
so
their gun full sound, their ears on, and then drums on top of it, and he heard something, but he didn't realize how bad it
Yeah,
was
it's like,
until he was outside.
somebody knocked something over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, because people wreck outside this street out here so many times that we're kind of desensitized a little bit by it, but that shook the whole entire building, like shook.
Oh, yeah.
So it was pretty.
Yeah, I remember
Yeah.
your car. I remember now when you mentioned the Taurus, your car was parked outside. At least you got a new truck out of the deal.
Yeah, well, we actually
sort of.
Yeah, we sorted it. We paid some bills.
No, insurance companies suck.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
So there was a whole fiasco about getting the building fixed. It took a year before we got the building fixed.
Mhm.
But they did give me more money than I expected for my crappy Taurus.
Yep.
Oh, she was a good tour.
She was good. She was actually better than the chorus. And I played hard to get there. They're like, well, we'll give you this much. I'm like, I don't know, man. Let me get back to you. And I was like, heck yeah. That'll work. But we took that money and paid off debt, basically.
Yeah. Talk about a mom and pop thing to do when you get money like that. You're like, well, let's pay some bills.
Here's $4,000. I'm like, I can pay off a credit card.
Yeah.
Yep.
We have had two local shops with almost the same story.
Crazy.
One of them I will share a little bit more info, but I can't share a whole lot.
Yeah.
But basically, there were some guitars in the store on consignment, and so this guy, I don't remember if this is one where the dude ran and stole some stuff, but the guy who was there he was there in the building with his stuff on consignment, and he was running around going, "Is it okay? Is it okay?" You know, like this whole thing. But yeah, we had actually happened to Sam Ash here, and they made off with like $10,000 worth of guitars or something. It's like, you don't think they don't have those serial numbers written down? Like, whatever.
Wow.
Crazy.
Yeah, it was a pretty crazy day.
Yeah.
That is for sure.
Forgot the question.
No, I haven't really gotten to it yet. So,
Okay, sorry.
where do you guys see the future of mom and pop stores? Where do you see mom and pops going in the future?
Oh gosh, I think that they're gonna stick around for a while. I think we're gonna get quite a few of them. I mean, there's a lot of people that don't really realize what it takes to stick it out, you know, to keep going through tough times in order to survive. And not a lot of people are willing to, you know, struggle a little bit to see your dreams come to fruition. But the ones that are and the ones that will, I see them doing pretty well, because I think people are tired of the giant conglomerate building businesses winning. It's like David and Goliath, you know, you're just kind of tired of it. You're tired of the manipulation, and especially now with all the different rules and regulations and people jumping the aisles and flip-flopping on their policies and stuff just for money. I think the mom and pop stores are going to be the winning side for a lot of Americans, that'll have a place that feels like old America, that still feels like, you know, the American dream. And I don't think they're going anywhere. I really don't.
Yeah, I think there'll always be a place. Therefore, you know, I forgot. I talked to one of my sales reps at D'Addario. I had a great rep there that I had a great rapport with, and we talked. Of course, D'Addario is freaking huge. I mean, they're the biggest string manufacturer in the world, so they are the top dogs. And so I asked my rep there one time. I was like, "Man, how many stores are there in America? Like, I don't even know." And it was said it was either 3,000 or 6,000. Might have been 6,000 in the entire United States. Now, you know, there's like 400 or 500 guitar centers. I think, I can't remember. You know, You've got your Sam Ash, and you've got Sweetwater. There are big chains, but there's thousands and thousands of independent dealers out there. Mm-hmm. And, you know, sure, it can get tough, but I think there'll always be a spot for it, because there's always people who want a different experience.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think the mom and pops are becoming a destination. I think that's a place for people to go and hang out and have the conversations about music, and to figure out the questions that you can't get answered elsewhere, you know?
Yeah,
exactly.
And it's relationships. That's what we all want deep down. Somebody you trust, somebody you can talk to, somebody who's cool.
Yeah.
You know, I have other music stores locally, not real local, but like 45 minutes away, that I'll go to for certain things because I like them, and they're good guys, and
we want to support.
Yeah, and they're not trying to stab me in the back, and I'm not trying to stab them in the back. We're trying to help each other. Now, we're not right next door, but you know, we are 45 minutes away from each other, which is, in Texas, that's like driving to the grocery store. 5 minutes.
Yeah. That's down here too. I'm in Southern Virginia, Southeastern Virginia. I think that harkens back to what Angela said earlier about the kids and the lessons, because a guitar store, when I was young, I remember being little, going to the music store and seeing, all the stuff that was really cool, really far out. And there was, like you were talking about with the kids, there was that relationship that we would form with those people. And I'm a comic book enthusiast. It's the same thing. If I can find a comic book store where I can talk to the guys about Batman in the 80s to Batman to today and so on and so forth, we could take this and run into any kind of thing like that. I think that's you were talking earlier about how there are people who buy guitars that they order through you. They're customized. A lot of that is CMG, right? Some of that, or at least some of it, right?
Yeah, I've got a couple of customers. One here in Texas. I mean, he's in Dallas, which is an hour drive. He could go anywhere in Dallas, but he comes out here because he likes us and he watches our videos and stuff. And he's bought several custom CMGs. He's bought one custom shop Acacia guitar from us. I've got another guy in Washington State who I don't even know how much money he's spent with us. I mean, I know, but I don't want to say. It's a lot on like custom CMGs, several custom Acacias, some Volas. Like he buys guitars from all over the place, but he buys some specifically from us. In some cases,
just to support us.
Yeah. I mean, he could buy them dealer direct. I mean, manufacturer direct in some cases, but he's like, well, I want to buy it from Ron and Angela. Okay. So, but I think, like we don't make a lot of money from YouTube, like not from like ad revenue or any of that kind of stuff. That's a whole separate game. But one thing I have done is I've sold some custom shop guitars because we make videos each week talking about Texas has the best barbecue.
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny. You guys did a backyard barbecue or something a year ago, right?
We did a guitar barbecue is what we called it.
Yeah.
It was
great.
It was fun. We meant to do another one. It was supposed to be an annual thing, and that's just been once.
It was hot. And
well, you guys keep all the best meat down there. I'll tell you that. You guys keep all the best meat. I don't care what anybody says. I've had people, that's not true. Listen, every time I go through Texas, I stop and I get a steak, and there's a reason.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. The grass is greener.
Yeah.
True. That's true.
Yeah, people here are passionate about meat.
Yes.
And football.
Yes.
And Texas.
And
I'll have to grab something. During a question David asks you, I'll have to run and grab something because I want to show you guys something I bought that is definitely Texas that you guys got to see. I just recently got it.
So excited already.
Yeah, you're gonna laugh. You're gonna love it. You're gonna love it because if you ever driven through Amarillo, you've seen one of these things.
Yep, been through Amarillo.
Okay.
Oh yeah. So anyway, I think what you just said again that reflects the fact that when people buy RNA shirts and when people watch your show and when people, like you said, they order through you rather than going direct. That's right. RNA and folks, there's a whole you guys are on Teespring, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I just want to say that I think that's, like you said, that is a result of the YouTube channel. The YouTube channel itself, if you just counted the pennies you get from ad revenue, that might pay for, I don't know,
a couple phone calls.
Yeah, maybe. Maybe one cell phone bill.
Right.
It's like $100
half of us all
every 3 months.
Yeah.
That's
like,
ridiculous.
Hey, it's one payment. It won't even pay the electric bill, but it might pay the phone bill.
Right. And that's what I'm saying. And that month, but not the other two. And yet,
not the other two.
Yeah. So that's why I'm saying that I think it's important for people to notice, or at least if people are looking at these kind of things, a mom and pop is really based on the relationship. And you guys every week, that's what it is. we see you, we who watch you, see you as, Ryan and Angela. They're like friends. I would invite you in for coffee. We would sit down and play cards. We'd watch a Star Wars movie again. I mean, it's the kind of thing where everybody loves you. You probably don't realize this, but you have more celebrity than you think because of that. Because you endear people to you. You don't have to be superheroes. They've said a million times. Not all heroes wear capes. Angela is a hero to those kids that want to learn to play ukulele, that want to sing, that are, doing that thing. I can't imagine Ryan trying to give an online drum lesson. Just
it's challenging.
It's very
Drums are difficult.
Yes, the echo.
and
sure.
I just meant to say that, that kind of thing. So, Ryan, I got to ask you, when your CD coming out?
Oh, well, hashtag, how's your album coming? We're actually relatively close to the Bitter Bass Man and I releasing a single. So we have some music. It's been like 15, 18 years in the works. Anyways, so we've got one or two, probably before the end of 2020. There will be a single or two from a project that my best friend Paul, my best friend who's not Angela, Paul.
Right.
We've played music together since we were in high school. So something from that is going to be coming out,
before the end of
the year, probably before the end of summer. He's mixing some stuff, but my personal music I've been working on for forever. I don't even know. I don't even want to say. I used to say the end of this year.
Yeah.
And then it became the next year. And it was like this year. And then it was the next year.
Too many things in the fire right now.
Yeah. I need to work on my website.
Ryan is the George R.R. Martin of record albums.
Hey, as long as I'm not anymore, it's cool. I'm not gonna complain.
I got to ask you another question. What is the hottest selling item in your store?
Strings.
Yeah.
I was waiting for
right
it.
now. Strings.
Yeah, that's
strings and ukuleles right now.
Ukulele
are really hot right now.
Yeah. It's funny. I resisted for a long time.
I'm so proud of you for admitting that.
I can admit my faults. I'm not that arrogant. I resisted a long time ukuleles.
Yeah.
Angela's like, we should get ukuleles. I'm like, I don't know. She's like, we should get. I'm like, My sales rep for another company, he also sold ukuleles. He's like, you should get some ukuleles. They're great. I'm like, But finally, I saw the light and I ordered ukuleles. I'm like, these things are crazy. Like how they're super easy to sell.
Yeah.
And we sell a lot of them.
Yeah.
I'm like, it's not a guitar, but it has strings on it, so that's okay.
It's like the right price point. Like it's the trifecta. It's like the right price point. It's not extremely difficult to learn to play a couple of songs on it, and it's it's small. It's portable. There's a little bit of interest from the younger crowd right now, obviously, and I think everybody I know who's selling them is selling them. Like they're just flying off the shelf. So
you get we carry Kalas, which is they're like D'Addario. They're the biggest brand, and you can get a Kala for about $45, $50. Like it's not garbage, but it's entry level and it's not trash. It's decent stuff. $50 is easy for someone to go like, yeah, $50. I spend $50 at Walmart every time I walk.
Yeah.
$50.
We actually have a uke player in my current cover band outfit. So I have a couple music projects. I have one music project that is obviously me, right? And I play the tracks and I write all the music and do all that stuff. And that's kind of like shred, jazz, fusion stuff. And then the other project is I play with a band called Old Stumpy, and we play top 40 bluegrass covers of other music. Well, we have a uke player. And that was a whole nother experience to sit in with a uke player in our band. But it was also something that made me realize you can take this instrument seriously. You don't have to like look at it as kind of a silly like or a folk instrument, because I always look at it as like a Hawaiian folk instrument too. But I mean, it fits in context, and we use it in a very specific way, and there's some very specific things they do with it, and it's kind of funny because like we don't even have a mandolin player, you know, but we have a uke. Like it's a weird situation. So
One of our friends who started off as a customer years ago, and now he's just a friend, Tim Worley. Like he gigs like with his ukes, and he's like, "Hey, can you order me like I want this nice one, like acoustic electric, plug it into the PA." I'm like, "Yeah, they make those. I can get it for you, man." So like we sell a lot of the beginner ones, but we've sold some swanky ones too.
yeah.
Tim Worley, I think he's one of my Facebook friends. Honestly,
Probably Uncle Book and the jalapeno drive.
yeah. All right. So if you could ask people to purchase one thing from your store, if you said, "Oh, if somebody could purchase this one thing from my store," what would that one thing be?
Oh gosh,
Mm,
I don't know. Would it be like Ebola?
it's either an expensive guitar
Yeah.
or
Put food on the table.
Yeah.
Whatever whatever has the highest markup that I'll put food.
yeah. What's the highest profit margin? Table.
Oh my gosh. I don't think we have anything really sitting around that I really need this to go. When we were first opened, we had green Schecter that we had for like over a year.
Oh man.
And I was like, I'm ready for that thing to go away.
Well, that's
Avenger.
that's what's
Yeah,
been great
talking
about
about that.
COVID, though. That's what's been great about COVID, though, because I've seen stuff like that's in shops that's like been there for 2 or 3 years. It's gone now, and I'm like, where did it go? And they're like, somebody came in and bought it, or somebody bought it online and like came and picked it up. And I'm like, huh? Like that thing, I thought that was never going to leave. It's like, and then in one case, there was an instrument that I was actually thinking about buying, and I called them up and I was like, hey, you still got that? And they're like, no, somebody came in and bought it the other day. And I'm like, it's been sitting there for a year and a half. Like, no, really?
You never know.
You never.
Like I'm really bad about holding on to stuff because I get mad. You guys sell stuff on Reverb?
Yeah.
You ever sell? So I mean, we have stuff on Reverb, but almost all the time it's just a bunch of lowball offers.
Yeah.
It's, thousands. You're talking like, I give you $500 for it. I'm like, no.
Well, set your threshold higher and just auto deny them.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, I turned off the make offer thing. I'm like, I'll forget it.
Yeah, I do that sometimes too, especially if it's like I'm gonna low price something anyway. But you know what? Reverb is full of tire kickers, and and there's a lot of people that if you accept an offer from somebody like that, just expect to get scammed. Because I've seen situations where people have like had the guy, like they give them the item and then the guy comes back and says it's not working. And then like basically refuses to post any video or anything, and then Reverb has to get involved, and it's a whole like shenanigan mess.
Yeah.
For listeners who are watching this, like just before you put something on Reverb, know what it's worth. Don't try to put it on Reverb and I'm just going to sell it as fast as I can for whatever offer I get first.
Right.
Don't do that to yourself, because you're just getting into a pool of problems.
Yeah.
I've had a
You had
couple of
that-
guitars that been here for a while. Like she was talking about that Green Avenger, which I thought it was cool. Anyways, and like it was here, and I'm looking at it. I'm like, I guess this is gonna be mine. I guess I just got a new guitar because. And then the next day, a guy walked in, kind of one of our regulars. He used to be like a manager of a guitar center in Dallas, so he knows for like 15 years, he was in the guitar centers. So he knows guitars, and he would come in. He found us because of YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, whatever. And he likes us, so he'll pop in every few months. He'll pop in and see what we got. And he's like, "Oh, dude, I'll buy that Avenger right now." And he like paid like full price for it. I didn't even have to discount. And I'm like, "Sweet. Well, if you hold on to it long enough, it either becomes yours or somebody will come in and pay a fair price for it."
Right.
Eventually, if you can be that patient, but
Yeah, I would think one of the bolas would be the first thing that I would like to go.
We got a couple of $2,000 guitars here that would be nice to sell. But I get a kick out of people buying T-shirts. Honestly, that's one of my things. Like,
Yeah.
if somebody just bought a T-shirt, like, we make a little bit of money off of it, but it's just neat
to see people from all over wearing our name.
Yeah.
Like while they're shopping or in their, they'll do selfies and they'll be in family photos. And not that they purposefully are wearing it just to say, hi, Ryan and Angel. It's just like they're just at, cooking in their backyard and dad's wearing an RNA shirt and he just happens to be on Facebook. And it's just wild to see our stuff on people. It's wild.
One of the first shirts I sold, I think, online went to a guy in Scotland. And like, I'm friends with him on Facebook now. And it's just like, he'll send me pictures and he's like in Scotland on a mountain or something, like with his RNA shirt on. I'm like, that's like the coolest thing I could probably ever imagine.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah, I mean, we don't.
I still have street guitar shirts that I wear sometimes.
We have merchandise, obviously. Not a whole lot of people bought it, but I'll be honest. I was talking to Jim the other day about it. One of the coolest things to me is when we go in and actually look and see where our downloads are coming from, because it's the podcast. We can actually see like not who, but like where it's coming from, and we have listeners all over the planet, and it's like. I didn't even know people in that country like really were even interested in guitar, let alone English speakers talking about guitar,
Right.
And it's wild. It takes a moment. You're like, wait a minute, is this real? Like, is this legit? But it is.
It's very true.
It's a cool feeling.
Yeah.
So
very much so.
Oh yeah. So first, I'm going to show you my Texas thing. So I got this the other day. They had a special going on, and my son goes, "Have you ever heard of this thing?" And I go, "Are you serious? It's on Funko's site. It's a jackalope."
Oh gosh.
Oh, I love jackalopes.
He's a little jackalope. So I just thought,
I love jackalopes.
Aren't they funny? I said to him, so the first time I ever saw a jackalope, I was driving through Texas on my way to San Diego. I was being stationed in San Diego, and as I was going through, I saw these little things. You know how they have like little fake stuffed jackalopes, stores,
yes,
and the little antlers on them. And I said, "Is that thing real?" That guy goes, "Yeah, it's real."
Well, of course it is. You can see it, right?
He had me going. I'm a little kid from upstate New York. I got no idea what's going on. I'm 19 years old, 20 years old. I'm like, "Is that thing real?" Yeah, man, that's real.
He's looking at you and he's going, well, there's one sitting there, like.
Where do you think you got it?
That's great.
I love jackalopes. Yeah.
Yep, me too.
You can probably find at least one stuffed one in most gas stations throughout Texas.
Yeah. I thought you'd find that amusing.
Yeah, that's good.
So now I've got some rapid fire questions.
Okay.
They're not a gun store, Jim. We've been over this.
Oh, that's right. There's a Family Guy when he goes, you get a with every bottle of Jack Daniels, you get a free gun. All right, so I'm going to ask these because I know you're fans, so I know the kind of questions they like to hear. Are you ready?
Oh man,
gotcha.
All right. What is your favorite movie?
Princess Bride.
Yeah, love it.
That's
love that
good.
Movie. Are you sad that they're butchering it right now?
Yeah, well, we saw the clip of all the celebrities doing the thing. It was pretty funny, but oh gosh, they really need to just leave it alone.
Yeah,
it's like if you do anything with Princess Bride, you just need to re-release it into theaters so people can see it on a big screen. That's all you need to do.
Exactly. Sometimes you can't mess with what was perfect the first time.
In IMAX.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, in IMAX. So don't
they need a special edition? Don't they need to go back and add CG stuff in it and like make the fire swamp that much more ridiculous and
like George Lucas?
Exactly.
Oh, George Lucas, My Princess Bride.
Yes.
Yeah.
George Lucas redoes The Princess Bride. Okay, what is your favorite TV show?
Oh gosh, that one's hard. We don't watch a lot of television.
We don't watch. There's like
It used to be Walking Dead.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was what we
Used to be.
to watch together.
I support
Same
this.
here.
Yeah,
like we would wait and like sit on the couch on Sunday evenings
like
and wait for it to come out. Like when you were a kid, like you had to wait and watch stuff. So like,
yeah, like the magical world of Disney every Sunday.
like we're trying to get ready, like, coming on. What's going to happen? That was like 4 years ago.
Yeah.
Now nobody cares.
Yeah, I stopped long before that, but yeah, there was a time where I was like, yeah, this is what I want to watch, and then what happened?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, actually, like right now we're catching up on the TV show Alone. It's like a reality TV show that I had no idea existed because we don't watch television. And now it's like we caught up. It's on season 6. It's on Netflix.
Jim,
And
Jim said that, and I wanted to be like, I don't even know if I have a TV anymore. Like I had to think about it.
Yeah. So we started watching that. That's pretty cool. I like that. It's survivalist.
Yeah, people, they drop them off in the wilderness and like, all right, last one who doesn't wimp out wins $500,000.
Yeah.
And they're just there. They've got to build a shelter and catch food and not die.
Yeah,
I'm
skin
fat.
animals
I got
and
weeks.
everything.
I had a yeah. Jim. I got this. When I was every time I find a show I love, like on Hulu or Netflix, I'll watch it and I'll go, I can't wait for the next season. Then I'll look it up on IMDb and it was like 1998 when it ended. So it's like, oh.
Yes, I canceled. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah,
it ruins us.
yeah.
Like
That
Firefly?
was yes,
Yeah.
Firefly. That was horrible that it ended. Yeah, that was crazy. There was another show like called Geniuses or something like that. That was on Sci-Fi.
Yep.
And I was like, oh, why?
That was another
We
one. I watched it and it went poof.
we still watch Parks and Rec and Psych.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
So we'll go back.
We're big dorks. We love to laugh. So anything like before, if we've had a rough day, we will usually put on like a rerun of something that will just make us belly laugh and, you know, in the day on a positive note of something funny like an episode of Psych or
Yep.
like you said, Parks and Rec
Now,
or something like that.
a bit of humor for show listeners. They didn't say Crossfire on CNN. Notice that there was no Hannity, there was no Crossfire.
There you go. None of that stuff.
They're watching entertainment programming, which is what we should all be doing right now.
That's right. I love Psych, by the way. I watched that show from beginning to end. Psych was
Oh,
one
it's
of
the
my
best.
favorites. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good.
My text alert is Psych. I'll have to turn it on. I don't know if
Yeah.
you'll be able to hear it. Ryan will have to text me. But yeah, we watch it. It was a show that we can actually watch with our boys
Right.
when they were
right.
a little bit older, and they can sit in and not hear anything that was inappropriate for their age. But
Right.
it's yours is to wait for it. No one's going to be able to hear it. It's too
Oh
quiet.
man,
But yeah, that was one of the. No, we don't watch the news. We
No.
don't watch.
Why would you?
We're not fans
Neither.
of anything like that. We don't watch morning talk shows.
I
Or
was just
talk
I was
shows
just
that-
pointing out that we're getting too much of that stuff right now anyway. You can't escape it. It's everywhere and you can't distance yourself and like put yourself in a better frame of mind. So
Yeah, no, I like to laugh. I like action movies. We like today, like literally today, Nicholas and I, he's never seen Predator, the first Predator with Arnold Schwarzenegger. So Ryan and I,
come on, for
Nicholas-
real?
Nicholas and I watched. I've seen it many times, but
Right.
he had never seen it, and so I was like, "Okay, you have to."
well he's old enough now.
Yeah, where they're not going to repeat the words and
Right.
all this
Oh, that's half the fun.
and be scarred for life.
I think I think my youngest daughter, when she turned 10, I was like, all right, it's time for Predator. Like, I was like, here we go.
Yeah, well, we're a big Doctor Who fan, and
We were watching Doctor Who today, actually. Binging.
oh gosh, David Tennant is my guy, And so they love that.
Yeah.
And they can watch that over and over and over again.
And they do sometimes.
And they do. But they are both very sensitive, and they don't like, watching people they play video games and stuff like that, but they are pretty sensitive. So I was like, let's pump the brakes on that one. I don't know if you might be able to handle it.
Yeah.
Of course, now he's like, now let's watch Alien, because they've never seen Alien either. So
That's another one.
Oh, my.
That's another one.
I'm old enough that I saw Alien originally in the movie theater, but
oh wow,
yeah.
but you were little though.
No, I was a teenager.
Oh, you were?
Yeah. I that's right around the time I probably was, probably 13. Alien came out.
Oh wow.
What was that? 70, 78?
77, I believe. No, it's
77?
I think it's 79 actually.
Yeah. Oh, I was definitely into my teens, way into my teens by that point.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's scary,
all right.
That's okay, enough making Jim feel old. I used to watch Hee-Haw first runs. What is your what now that the kids have grown, what is your favorite pastime?
Sleeping.
Sleeping in.
I was like, we don't do anything. Yeah. We're so exciting.
Yeah.
So excited.
Sounds about right.
So excited.
Yes.
It's going on dates, I think.
Yeah.
Now like they're old enough, we leave them home alone. They're like,
we
let's
don't
go
have
eat.
we don't have to get a babysitter. We're like, peace out, y'all.
Yeah, and you don't have to ask them, what do you want me to bring you back? You can just go get something to eat. They can go get their own, right?
Exactly.
Yes.
I mean, they still ask, even though they're currently eating food as we're walking through out the door. What do you think? You gonna pick me up some chicken? So, yeah, they use that too. So, I literally maybe 10 minutes ago texted them, "Do not eat the pizza. That's our pizza.
That's
So,
You literally
that we could have dinner." And because as we were leaving, they had just finished eating, and I was like, "That pizza's for us. Please don't eat our dinner tonight."
Come home and it's gonna be
Gary's
gone. I don't know what happened to it.
It's
you each
gonna be gone. Yeah.
you each
But
get
yeah.
one slice.
surviving
Children that are giants is our pastime now.
Oh gosh,
Yeah,
And
'cause your
having
boys
food.
are tall. Your boys are tall.
huge.
Yeah, Nicholas is 6'7", and Aiden is 6'3", I think 6'3", 6'4".
6'3".
Yeah, because Ryan,
he's
you're not. You're about 6 feet, right?
I'm like 6'2".
Yeah. Yeah.
So-
But I look small standing next to my sons, which is
yeah, which is
Like how-
funny.
Yeah, and I'm a tall-ish girl. I'm 5'7.5", so I'm not short. And so yeah, they dwarf us.
Yeah. They make you guys. First time I saw you, because obviously Nicholas the younger one, right?
You know, he's the oldest. He's the
Oh, he's the
20-year-old.
oldest?
yeah.
Aiden. I would see Aiden come in and out of the store once in a while, and I'd say, "Oh, he's cute. He's a little boy." And then all of a sudden, he became a tall person. It was like
Yeah.
overnight.
Yeah.
Feels like
Literally did, because he's always been almost exactly half Nicholas's height.
Yeah.
Since they were little bitty,
They're 5 years apart.
and
so-
then maybe just a year ago, Nicholas they were walking down the hallway to eat breakfast, and I was like, kind of like, "Come on, guys, we're gonna eat breakfast." And they were walking down the hallway, and Nicholas comes out of his door, and Aiden comes out of his door, and Nicholas turns and looks at Aiden like. And he looks at me and he looks at Aiden. And he's like, "When did we get eye to eye?"
Yeah.
Because he's always been looking down at Aiden, since they were babies. They literally been half each other's height. And now Aiden is. They're like neck and neck, literally.
Yeah.
it's bad.
It's crazy.
I feel old.
Yeah.
We appreciate your time. David, did you have any other questions?
I think we had one more, right? I mean,
Yes, I do have one
Okay.
more. That's
you
why
he has the final question.
we have to.
Final question.
That's right.
First
Where,
question.
that's right. Where can people find you? And what do you have coming up that if you want to tell our listeners that is coming up for RNA Music? Is there anything you want to share? How can people find you? I mean, hashtag KTMA to keep the music alive.
There you go.
You know that. Now I got to ask you both to say one thing before you answer the question. I got to ask you to say one thing. I'm so excited.
Are you excited?
I'm so excited.
How excited are you?
That's your thing. That's your catchphrase.
I'm so excited.
Yeah.
I'm so excited.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got to have the James Hetfield in there.
Oh.
I'm going to do, I was watching an old England video today, and he's got this little like sampler thing, and I'll reach over and hit a button and gets like fart noises and applause.
Oh my gosh.
I need one of those just for James.
Yeah, but it should say creeping death.
Yeah.
Because he just adds the to the end of any other word, and that's how you sound like James Hetfield.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man. What's our website? I think it's rna-music.com.
Yeah.
It's changed years. Like it was rnamusiconline.com.
You can find the correct website address in the show notes below.
Yeah, don't say all these different things.
Oh, yeah.
It'll be down there. Just go down there.
It is RNA-music.
Yes.
RNA-music dot, and then you guys got a Shopify.
Jim, I had a game plan for this.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Oh man.
And you can find us on Instagram and
Facebook.
We're on there, and
YouTube. Of course.
YouTube.
That's I forgot what the name of the YouTube thing is. If you just type in RNA Music, it's easy to
RNA
find
Music?
us.
Yeah.
Like
That's how I find you.
Yeah.
It's RNA Music.
yeah. There's a couple of other RNA. They're insignificant compared to us.
They're
I don't think
unforgettable.
they do this.
You can't miss Ryan's beard, folks. That would be
Yeah.
that will be the telltale
Yeah,
sign you're in the right place.
Stuck with a guy that looks like a
Right, I don't have
Viking.
Yes. Yes. Exactly.
But if you go back far enough, because it's like 10 years of YouTube videos, there is no beard at some point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's baby beard, and more beard, and then less beard, and
and
then
mutton chop and
Yeah.
strap, chin
Hair.
strap, goatee only.
more hair, less hair, more beard, less beard,
And you see the evolution of my hair.
more pizza, less pizza. I'm going to cut
Yeah.
the phase right now.
Yeah.
That's one thing I love about YouTube is it's really like a time machine, because you can go back and look at a video from 5 years ago, and
Oh,
you
wow.
can almost put yourself in the same mindset you were then and see what you look like. I love it when stuff pops up. We did like the vlog videos, and I'll see videos of like the boys, because they're 15 and 20 now, and I see videos of them at 10 and 5. I'm like, oh my god, that's what they look like. I don't remember it, but now I remember it.
Yeah.
Or our dogs when they were puppies, and now they're giant
Yep.
werewolves.
Yep.
So I think the YouTube thing, it's. I mean, I do it because I enjoy it. It's not necessarily making money or, getting famous or something like that. But it's almost more of a time capsule for our family in a way. It's the way I look at it. And one day my great grandkids will be like, "Look at great grandpa, what a dork."
Yeah.
Hopefully they don't talk like that.
Yeah, maybe they. I hope not. It's true.
Look at that old tech he used to use.
Yes.
There's his guitar. I still have it.
Yeah, hopefully.
Maybe.
See, that's what I want to do. I want to pass on the guitars.
Mine
Yeah.
are I'm going to be
Keep
buried
it-
with mine.
He's gonna have a Viking
Kids don't get it.
funeral.
Yeah, well,
Yes.
HW, one of our other show hosts, he did this purple 1968 plexi thing, and he's like, I want to be buried in the cabinet. I thought it was the greatest thing I'd ever heard in my life, and I was like, I need to find a cabinet like that.
Yeah.
That would be cool.
I just hope one of my grandkids is really into guitar.
Yeah, because neither one of our boys are.
Like Nicholas plays the bass, but he's not into playing the bass. He just kind of plays it.
He just kind of doesn't.
And Aiden has a guitar that I gave him, but he doesn't really play. I'm like,
Yeah, he's into
Boys.
guns. He's into guns. He's the other part of the store that we
So
should.
yeah,
we
so
should
that
open.
so the other half of the story is going to be his, right? And that's going to be where the firearms are. All right, I got you.
Guitars and guns.
We got a plan.
It's Texas.
That's right. And it will work.
Yes.
And it,
Well, guys, thank you very much for showing up. Your pizza's probably getting cold. We don't want to keep you from that.
I want some pizza.
And
It's fine.
Yeah.
It's good cold.
It's Domino's. Man. It's not good cold. It's
It's a mom and pop.
it's a mom and pop store that we love here.
It doesn't have
Oh.
there's no pineapple on it though, right? I mean,
Good.
It's just pepperoni.
just perfect. I'm coming over. I'll be there in like 5.5 days. It'll be cool.
Yeah. When you get here,
it'll take me about 5 days to get there. Yeah.
Yeah.
people come here who've never been here, like, hey, you want to go get some Jerry's Pizza
We go
or some Dairy Palace?
Yeah.
Because it's
That's
you can only find that in Canton, Texas.
Let's go.
Well, thank
Let's do
you
it.
for inviting us. I've listened to a couple of podcasts. I think on YouTube, because I'll put stuff on YouTube and just let it play and just listen to it more so than go to actual.
Hopefully it was a good.
Podcast.
Hopefully there were some good episodes.
Yeah. We've had
Yeah.
some real stink bombs lately. This whole COVID thing is affecting us badly.
Yeah. Jim and I's mental health has not been wonderful lately. It's been very clear to our show listeners.
Yeah. So before we lose everybody, we've got to regain it, which is why we invited you guys. And
You're
and
you're
you've
kicking off the
removed-
reinvention of the wheel here. We're reinventing the wheel.
Right.
So
That's right. We are rolling now. Yeah, we don't even want to talk about it. So but I appreciate it. So we're gonna to take us out. I'll leave, David will leave, and then you guys can take us the rest of the way. So I've been Jim.
I've been David.
I'm Ryan.
Now, Angela,
Thanks for
Yeah.
watching. Keep the music alive.
don't forget it.
Music needs you,
And you need the music.
and we need to keep it alive for the next generation
That's right.
and keep
Hashtag
ourselves alive.
ATMA.
Hashtag secret hashtag of the day.
Hashtag the day is